Silver the Hedgehog and Blaze the Cat. Two characters who have a lot to showcase when it comes to their worlds, or in Silver's case, his future, as well as showing a lot more to their character. Blaze is a character from an alternate dimension called the Soul Dimension, and she's the princess ruler of the Soul Kingdom. Blaze was a character who was created to be like a alternate Sonic from an alternate universe. Both are fast, she has her own Eggman, and both have their own set of emeralds that they use to turn to super form. And funny enough, both have friends who are both into a form of travel, like with Tails being into planes and flying, and Marine being into boats and ships. Blaze's personality wanting to rely on her own rather than others definitely clashes with Sonic's way of doing things, but eventually both come to be good friends. She would then make many appearances in future games and other media. Silver is a character from the future that was ravaged by an evil entity called Iblis. But after the events of 06 was erased, Silver was reintroduced in Sonic Rivals and would always make appearances in future games, stating to come back in time from the future once again. In Sonic Forces, he returned to help stop Eggman, as his future was once again in ruins. Silver's personality was like a big change in later iterations. In the current era, he's more of an adorable dude, but back then, he didn't really showcase this. He had a bit more snark back then, and a bit more seriousness, but I enjoy this personality so much more because it's me in real life. Silver and Blaze have appeared together countless times as a pair. Their chemistry and how they interact really do share a close bond. Of course, in 06 they knew each other, but after that got erased, they came to know each other over the times they appeared together. They would meet up with Sonic and his friends, and then they too would become friends. Fans of these characters want to see more of them in mainline games as a playable character, aside from the occasional playable spin-off role, or appearing in the comics to just help in a fight or whatever. However, sadly, it does appear that unless Sega changes their minds, we won't explore much of their character or their world/future really. It was revealed by Evan Stanley, one of the comic writers, that they aren't allowed to detail Silver's future or explore it in great detail. And sadly, the same applies to Blaze and her kingdom/dimension. We know Silver comes with a future, but we don't ever see much of his future. And by that I mean, we don't really see him hanging out in his time, or get a comic issue focusing on him handling something in his time. Where does he live in his time? Does he have his own friends in his time? I mean, I would assume so. I know fans told me there was an Archie comic in his time, so I do appreciate that happening. But now in IDW, we don't have that. We just have Silver coming in and basically just been staying in Sonic's time for even a long time, I think. Even Emma, after having some paranoia and feeling of concern, but calmed down thanks to Espio. Even with this good heart-to-heart, when will he go back? And if he does, how long will it be until we see him again? In the comics, Blaze is currently on vacation in Sonic's world after a good talk with Knuckles. By the way, I am very glad that these two had a character interaction properly, cause they are both Emerald Guardians. Anyway, after defeating all of her enemies in her world, there's no one else there to worry about taking over. So she decided to take an extended vacation in Sonic's world, and she's clearly been there for a long time. And both her and Silver are going to be in the upcoming arc. But eventually, she will have to go home to her world because she's her kingdom's ruler. She has no choice. The big drawback of Blaze and Silver going home is that we will never see them again unless they write an arc taking place in Blaze's world or Silver's time. Or the realistic approach, Blaze conveniently having time to come back again to help, and Silver also comes back to help for whatever reason. Both of these characters have a lot of potential for a comic arc focusing on them, or a video game focusing on either of them. Silver facing a threat in his time, not in the past. And we still don't know much of Blaze's world. I know we explored some of it in Sonic Rush Adventure, but we never even went around her kingdom, went inside her castle, or knew how it looked till the comments. We don't even know other characters, aside from her guards, Marine, and the pirates. What about having a game or story arc focusing on a rival kingdom, or giving her other enemies, or her own rival, like Sonic having Shadow? Imagine her getting a rival whose power is ice. That makes total sense. Same with Silver. Give him some of his own enemies, or both of them new allies. Speaking of Blaze's world, I know many have mentioned that when Ian Flynn stated that he would merge Blaze and Sonic's worlds together so it would be easier to bring Blaze back into stories, but he did reiterate that it was just a suggestion if it ever came to pass. He wouldn't do it really without an okay. But even then, I don't think it's a good idea, because then it would draw away of how unique it was to have Blaze come from an alternate world. And then I saw one theory from some fans saying to just have Silver permanently stay in the past and never let him go back in his future time. But why? What would be the point of that? I mean, yeah, if the past is where he feels at home in, he can stay, but again, he's from the future. If he stays here permanently, he would just be a Hedgehog who happens to have psychokinesis powers. Sega knows fans love these characters, which is why they keep trying to have them be back for whatever reason. But again, at some point, they will leave again. I would love a game focusing on them or a story arc. Maybe one day Sega will change their minds, I hope so, because at the moment, they are put in spin-offs, hang out to the side, and are only appearing in comments when the plot demands they be there. I generally do believe that at some point, we will get a game on either of them or a story arc in IDW. Thanks for watching.